I like doing elimination all the time, but there are certain ones that substitution comes in handy. Alright, so this is what a system of three equations look like. Negative x plus 4y is equal to negative 12, 2x minus 3y minus 4z is equal to 21, and negative x plus 5y minus 8z is equal to 9.
Come on, I'm gonna go tell them stop banging.
Life goes on.
Is that 47?
Where do you see?
Oh, AZ. Oh, I didn't follow you when you were doing it.
Now, Brigitte, for you, you have to be very careful to copy these down precisely
Leave me alone.
to make sure you get the negatives where they belong, the numbers where they belong, the equal sign where it belongs, everything where it belongs. So after you write it down, you double check yourself, okay? Because otherwise you're going to be spending 15 minutes doing this problem, and at the end, if I tell you you copied it down wrong at the very beginning, you're going to be very mad at yourself. So it's not my fault. All right, so the method here is somewhat like elimination. Now this is what I consider an easy one. And the reason I consider it easy is because the first equation, or one of the equations, only has two variables. So this thing is a two-step process usually. In this case it's, three or four steps usually. This one will only be about 2 or 3. Since the first equation only has an x and a y, your goal is to get rid of the letter that is not there, which is z. So out of these two equations, I want to get rid of the z. So kind of going back to the convention I had last time, let's call the first equation A, the second equation B, the third equation C. So we can kind of keep them all straight. Juggling 3 equations at the same time is not the easiest thing to do. So the ones I'm going to concentrate are equation B and equation C. So looking at the z's, how do I get rid of them when I use addition or elimination?
Get the same common number.
Which would be?
Negative
8.
No,
Oh,
positive 8.
well, one's going to be positive 8, the other one's going to be negative 8.
So, this
So the bottom one already has a negative 8, so what do I want to do with the second equation B?
negative 2 times negative 2.
So I'm going to go negative 2 times B and add that on to C. That's just my directions, my goal, what I plan on doing. Again, remember to distribute the negative 2 to both sides of that equation B. Distribute it to the left-hand side, but also don't forget
Okay.
the right-hand side. Alright, so negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6y, negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8z. Make sure your z's don't look like 2's, that's another mistake people make. And it'll equal negative 2 times 21, which is negative 42.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you get it all straight before you move on to the next part. Alright, and then the second part is just add c, so I'm just going to copy c down. It's negative x
You still put a plus sign, right?
plus 5y, you can, minus 8z, I just know I'm going to add them anyways, equals 9. But if you want, we can put a little plus sign over here to remind us. Okay, so if I add this down, you all caught up?
Negative 5x.
Negative 5x,
11y.
oops, that's ugly. Plus 11y, don't just say 11y.
Oh shoot, I missed
Negative
I missed
36
something.
equals negative 36.
The z's go poof, and it equals negative 36. So we have this equation now.
Who is that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to
Why
stop.
do you let it annoy you?
Because it's really annoying. It really is.
Concentrate on my pretty voice.
I can't. It's really messing with my concentration. I don't know why, but it really is.
I need your concentration to be more fixed. Alright, so what do you think we're going to do now? Let's call this equation D. What do you think we're going to do now?
It's 33.
What is 33?
42 from 9.
Sorry.
How dare
Oh, just erase it.
you? That means I have to come over here and erase it.
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Do what you always do. Mark it out.
No, it looks ugly on here if I mark it out. What is it again?
Negative 33.
Negative 33?
I was just copying it down. I wanted paying attention.
Yeah, so was I. I figured you could add it.
You don't want no.
Alright, So now what do I want to do with the system? I took B and C and I got rid of Z and I came up with this new equation, we're gonna call it D.
Put D into somebody.
So what can I do with D then?
Hmm?
I mean, D
Put
is
D
in
into
terms
A.
of X and Y.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way back to
Put D into A.
A and do elimination on them. So when you're looking at D and A, what letter do you want to get rid of?
The X.
The X would probably be easier than the Y. Because this is a negative 1x and this is a negative 5x, and it's really easy to make a negative 1 on 5. Alright, so what is my direction? What do I want to do to A?
5A.
Positive 5A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if
No,
I do
no,
positive
negative.
5? It'd be
Negative
So
5A
negative 5A.
plus D.
negative 5a plus d. And see what happens. Alright, so negative 5 times that top one would be 5x minus 20y is equal to 60. Double check my calculations.
Mm-mm. Put in negative 20. Oh, never mind. I thought you said
Yeah, that's
5.
right.
Alright, and then we're going to copy down d. d is negative 5x plus 11y is equal to negative 33. A squeaky marker.
Mm-hmm.
There, that's better. And then add these guys together and see what happens.
The 5's go away.
The x's go away.
Negative 9y.
You sure?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Negative 9y is equal to
Negative
27.
positive
Positive.
27. And then, of course,
Y
divide both
equals
sides by
negative
negative 9, and y equals,
Negative
and you go, yes, an answer. Now, what's my goal here? How many answers am I going to have?
Y. You need 4. Need 3.
3. And it's going to have an x, a y, and a z.
0.
So now I've come up with y. How do I find one of the
I
other
would
letters?
go Y into B.
Y into b?
No,
No, I wouldn't.
I just do something.
I would put it in one that only has one extra letter. So I have y. So what's the only equation that has one
A.
extra letter? A. I'd put it right back in A.
Okay.
If not A,
What
D.
did you say? You put it back in what?
That
I have y.
is
But if I
missing.
plugged it into B or C, that leaves me 2 letters left over. There's no point in that. So if I put it into A or D, it's down to 1 letter, X.
Negative 8
So I'm going to put it into A.
minus 12.
I'm going to call it, I'll just call it A. Looking at A, we're going to get negative X plus
Minus 12.
4 times negative 3 is equal to negative 12. This is negative 12, right?
Mhm.
If I move it across, it becomes
0.
0. So X has to equal
0.
0, which is perfectly fine. Now I have a Y and an X. What's left?
E.
Z. So which one of these equations can I use to get to Z?
Who's the last one?
Well, the last one, or B. So it's B or C that you can use. Which one looks nicer? A bunch of high school students are here today. C looks a bit better. So if I take C and I plug in the X and the Y that I've given, or solve for, we would get negative 0.
Why did you put negative? Why did you put 0?
I'm just precisely putting it in. It's negative
Alright,
0
negative 0
plus 5 times
minus 15
negative 3 minus 8Z
8Z equals
equals 9. They are noisy, aren't they?
Negative 15 minus 8Z equals 9. Then you're going to get 8 equals 24. Then you're going to get Z equals a negative 3.
Negative 8Z equals 24, and Z equals negative 3. And there's your answers. So as a final step, you gotta just put them together. Make sure you go in order. It's X, Y, and Z. So as a coordinate, I'll just put it here in the middle. Don't do this on my test.
Hold on.
This is you when you run out of paper.
Don't do what? What you gonna do?
Actually, I won't put it there. I'll put it right here. You take these 3 and write it as a coordinate. Now, the coordinate is literally X, Y, Z. And then I'll explain what that really means in the real world. So X is equal to 0. Y is equal to negative 3. Z is equal to negative 3. Okay. So what does 0, negative 3 represent? Well, in XY, we call that a plane, so that would just be the board, right? So if I add a Z component, what am I talking about? It's not a plane. One more dimension. See, if you have a line, I'll draw it over here. If you have a line, that's considered 2D, 2 dimensions. You only can move left and you can only move right. So there's only 2 motions you can make. If you put 2 number lines together, this is called, I'm sorry. That's not 2D, that's 1D. Only has 2 directions, move left and right. When you put 2 axes together, this becomes 2D.
The variables?
So if you have an x variable and a y variable, it becomes 2-dimensional. If it's just one variable, like x number line, it's 1-dimensional. So what 3D, or x, y, and z is talking about is a third axis coming straight out at you. So you'd have the x, y, and z. Now most people call this one up here z, this one x, and this one y. So when you're talking about x, y, z, you're talking about this room. So the line along the bottom of the floor here, this would be the y-axis. The line along the wall underneath the windows, that would be the x-axis. And the line that intersects the walls over here in this corner is the z-axis. So the coordinate 0, -3, -3 is 0 on the x-axis and -3 on the y, so it goes actually towards the road, and -3 on the z, so then it goes straight down into the dirt 3 feet. Kind of weird, huh? That's just an explanation of what this really is talking about, this x, y, and z. You won't need to know this until Calc 3. Who's getting there?
I don't know. I mean, I seriously don't. I'm still in pre-calc,
I'm so pre-calc. I don't know about calc.
so you're supposed to write it like that.
The 3 coordinates, yeah. Alright, one last example. A little harder.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's actually kind of simplistic. It's a lot of little steps involved, but once you get to that one variable solve, the rest of it is just backtrack and solve the rest of it. Never really had any people have problems with this. What's funny is I have more people have problems with 2 equations than 3. You listen to your messages? Ooh, erase. This one's going to take a little longer.
No,
For example,
It only took 20 minutes.
this one will be quicker.
It's gonna take longer, but we'll be quicker.
We have
don't do that.
We have the pattern down. Make sure I copy it right, otherwise we get some weird answers. For these, I made most of the answers whole numbers. That way you don't get crazy fractions. Yeah, I'm getting there. So when you get to Moodle or my test, the answers for the system of 3 equations is always going to be integers. It's not going to be any crazy fractions, right?
So they're gonna want us to put it like that on Moodle? Okay. I don't know.
There. So here's your system.
Ooh, this one kinda nice.
It's literally 3 planes in space that are intersecting each other, and we're hoping they all intersect at a single point.
I keep thinking them sevens.
What is planes?
Can you use other letters?
What are you talking about?
Them Z's.
I put a line in the middle of
It
them.
don't even look like a damn seven.
Get used to
Use
it.
a V.
I'm not going to use an ABC because I use ABC
I
here.
said V, not ABC.
V?
Them N, M.
V,
The common letter is Z.
NOP. Yeah, you could do NOP.
V is for vectors.
Oh my God, what is NOP for?
NOP, not. And you never use O because O looks like a 0.
We could have used
NOR. I
W.
mean
I'm
NPR.
using Z, so shh. Alright, we have ABC here. Now,
Can't win.
the first one had only 2 variables in one equation. Each one of these has 3 variables. So you're going to have to do something twice. The first thing you have to decide on is which variable do you want to get rid of?
I'm
The
gonna get rid of
X.
this
And
three
once you
first.
make that decision, you cannot change it from here on out. You can't go, I'm gonna get rid of X this time and Y next time. That's not gonna work out.
I mean, not why you get rid of Z then.
You can get rid of Z or X, I can
Which
care
one would
less.
you do?
We'll do the
Either or.
first one.
Either or, doesn't matter.
We'll just do the
Pick
first one.
We just do.
We'll do A from B.
So X. So we're gonna take the X's and eliminate them. Now notice I'm circling all of them, not just A and B. But if we're looking at the first two, we're just going to take A and B and do what with them?
Mine's is,
Yeah, we're gonna add them.
Just straight up add.
yeah.
So
Same
negative
here.
3x plus 8y plus 3z is equal to 41. Underneath it, 3x minus 5y plus 4z is equal to negative 22. And then just straight up add them. We didn't have to adjust it at all, which is actually rather nice. So when we add them, the x's go away. This becomes
3, 1,
3y plus
7, Z,
7z
19,
7
even 19.
equals, are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, 19. And we'll call this equation D. Anything that does not end up in a x equals or a y equals or a z equals, we're going to give it a letter. All right, now since
I think just 7.
If you did it lowercase, it would make sense.
what lowercase?
The
Yeah,
Z.
stop writing it look like a huge Z.
I know.
You really
Just do it
confused.
lowercase.
This is lowercase.
No, it's not.
Well, write your number bigger.
Look at my paper and look at that.
And write your number bigger.
Mine's small.
No, it's not.
I'll write it really tiny then. Okay.
Look
So-
at your X and Y and look at that Z.
I know, right?
Look, like get a ruler and measure
Fine,
it.
fine, fine. I'll write my z small.
Your
I'll
nose
try
on your
to.
board. You hear me? Your nose up there. You just erased it.
How did I do that?
What you mean? How you do? You know you're using the same eraser.
Oh, you mean erase my z that I wrote?
Yeah.
You don't like that? I'm gonna have to edit this video. You're making this hard for me. All right.
Because we're actually talking,
Yeah,
and like last time we weren't.
Yeah, well. So I got rid of this.
We're gonna do minus B from C to get rid of our Z.
See,
Okay.
you didn't follow my first direction.
You said if I gotta
Once
go
you
X,
choose
I gotta stay
x's,
with
you
X.
gotta stay with the x's.
Gotcha.
So you have a choice between A and C. You can get rid of the x's, or between B and C. You can get rid of the x's. Which one would be easier?
A and C.
A and C.
Mm-mm.
First, I'd look.
Actually, no, B and C.
All right, but either one's gonna work, so it doesn't matter.
Well, which one is easier then?
I think B and
I
C.
think B and C.
So what would you do to B?
Times it by
B
1
so leave B alone. What would you do to C?
times it by
2.
3.
And we're gonna add on 3C. Okay, let's see if I can practice my Z's now. So if I take B, it's 3x minus 5y plus 4z.
That's so much better.
That's great. Equals negative 22. And 3 times c is going to be negative 3x plus 12y minus 12z is equal to 42.
Yep, 42.
And we're going to take these two equations and add them together.
I'm sorry, I'm not following along.
Alright, what happens to the x's?
They go away.
Y's,
7y,
7y's, z's,
Negative 8.
8y, 8z,
8z, and it's equal to
and 20.
20. And we're going to call this equation
8.
E. Okay. Now what do? No, I have to do it a specific way.
They didn't ask for permission for the help. I'm guessing that.
I know.
Erase that.
Race
So
what?
we.
Oh, it's not my way yet. It's not my way. So what do I do with D and E?
You find another variable.
Get rid of them.
You try to get rid of another variable. Pick one. In this case, it doesn't
Seven.
matter because we got rid of our
We'll
x's.
try to get rid of Y's.
Try to
So
get
we're
rid of
gonna try
y's.
to times it by 7.
Alright, so we're going to try to get rid of the y's. So we need to multiply the first one by
7.
and the second one by.
3.
Now, if I make it 7 and 3, it'll be adding both of them. So
Okay.
one's got to be positive, the other one
Yeah,
negative.
negative 7.
So negative 7 times D plus 3 times E. Does that sound good?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Before you move.
I always like systems like this. It's not hard. It's just you have to
What?
constantly
Is you
concentrate.
crazy? Okay,
Never
we're ready.
crazy.
Well,
So
I'm reading.
7 times 3 is negative 21 y
49 E Z.
Plus 49.
Yes.
Minus 49.
No, mine's is.
Minus.
All you had to do was draw a line. You had a minus sign. Just draw a line
I already
first.
have the plus. Minus
Mine's 49 Z.
49 little z.
What's 7 times 19, Junior?
Negative 133.
Negative 133.
Now,
3
we have 21 Y
21 y
So
minus
negative
24
24
Z
Z.
24
equals 60.
equals 60.
Yeah.
And then take these two and
Mine's the same.
Add
add
up.
them
Same
together.
difference.
Well, addition and subtraction are the same.
That's gonna be 73 Z.
Negative
Yeah.
73z
Equals
73.
73.
Negative 73.
negative 73. Therefore, z
equals 1.
equals 1.
Yay.
And once you get to that point, it's actually kind of easy after that. You
If you
just
say
substitute it in, substitute it in.
If you say so.
I said so. What equation would you substitute z equals 1 into? A, B, C, D, or E?
C.
I put in the A.
I don't know.
Andrew?
D or E?
D or E?
Oh.
Oh,
Because if
it's
you
only
put it-
two variables.
It's only
that's
two
why.
variables. You want to back up. So, which one, D or E? Really doesn't matter.
D.
Don't matter.
D, alright. So in equation D, we're going to plug in z equals 1. We're going to get 3y plus 7 is equal to 19. 3y is equal to 12.
Hold on.
Hmm?
What, did I go too fast?
No, that's right, but
So
And y is equal to 4. So now I have z and y. Now where do I go?
Put Y into somebody, into E.
Into somebody.
Into E.
No, E's not going to do us any good because if I take z and y and put it into E, my answer better be 20.
We're gonna put in the 8 in there, guys.
Right. So I have y and z. What I'm looking for is x, and the only equation with x in it is one of the first original three. So which one, A, B, or C?
No, A.
A. So if I take 4 and shove it into A,
So we have negative 3 X plus 32 Y plus 3
plus 32, what?
Y.
32.
Yeah.
You
X
put the
four
4
times-
in,
I said 32 Y.
32. You
Oh,
substituted
okay,
in
that's
the
right.
y,
Got you.
and you went 4 times A is
Got you. Then 3 plus 3
32. And
equals
then-
41.
3z, and 3 times 1 is 3, and it's equal to 41. You're funny though, you plugged it in and kept the y. Alright, so 32 plus 3 is 35, if you subtract
Minus
35,
is
it's 6.
So X equals 2.
Careful.
did you put the Z into?
The z is
What
1,
you mean, careful?
so 3 times 1 is,
35 minus 41 from 35 is 6.
and if you divide by
Negative.
negative 3,
I done said I done had negative on my paper, that's why.
so you get x equals
Negative 2.
negative 2. And then as a coordinate, it would be negative 2, 4, 1. So
Now,
the system is negative 2, 4, 1.
Negative 2, 4. Okay.
X is equal to negative 2, y is equal to 4, z is equal to 1. Always goes alphabetical, x, y, z. That's all I have.